An unknown number in the equation we will denote by a letter. Before the letter, there can be either a positive number or a negative number. The number is called a coefficient. This record is equal to positive 2 multiplied by x. This record is equal to negative 5 multiplied by y. The letter, without any numerical coefficient, is equal to the record positive 1 multiplied by x. That is, if there is no sign in front of the number or the letter, it is considered as a plus. If there is a negative sign in front of the letter, it is equal to negative 1 multiplied by x. Let's look at the simplest equation. To any equation, and to the right and left part, we can add the same number or subtract the same number. And our equation will not change. To get rid of the 2 here, let's subtract 2 from the left and right parts. Here we get 0. Subtract 2 from 5, get the value for y. It would have been possible to reason a little differently, not to subtract from the left and right part of the number, but to move the 2 to the right part. With such a transfer, the sign in front of the 2 will change to the opposite. And instead of positive 2, there will be negative 2 on the right side of the equation. And we will get all the same solution. If this solution is substituted in the equation instead of the letter, then we get the correct equality. So you can do a check. In any equation, each term of the equation from the right and left can be multiplied by the same number or divided by the same number, and our equation will not change. Of course, the number should not be equal to 0. Such division is equivalent to multiplication by the reciprocal number. So, to get rid of the 4 in front of the y, I will multiply each term of the equation by the reciprocal of 4, which is 1/4. Let me remind you that when multiplying, the product of reciprocals is equal to 1. So on the left side I get 1, on the right side 2. Of course, the 1 is not necessary to write down. If we have an equation consisting only of 2 terms, one on the left, the other on the right as you see here, then this 4 can be moved to the denominator of the right part. And I will get the same solution. And to check our solution, we can substitute 2 in the equation instead of y. We will get the correct equality. To get rid of the 3 in front of the x, I will multiply each term of the equation on both the right and left sides by the reciprocal of 3. This is 1/3. Here I get 1. 6 divided by 3 and 9 divided by 3. I don't write the 1 before the x. I move the negative 2 to the right side. In this case, I change the sign in front of the 2 to the opposite. On the left side there was a minus, on the right side there will be a plus. So, I got the solution of the equation. This equation could be solved a little differently. -6 I move to the right side. I change the sign before the 6 to the opposite. I move the 3 in front of the x from the left side to the denominator of the right side. And I get the same solution. Before solving the next equation, let's consider the rule of multiplying positive and negative numbers. When multiplying 2 positive numbers, the result will be positive. When multiplying 2 negative numbers, the result will also be a positive number. So, if the signs of 2 factors are the same, it doesn't matter if they are negative or positive, the result will be a positive number. If the signs of the 2 factors are opposite, then the result will be a negative number. There is no sign in the brackets in front of the 2. We consider this sign as a plus. There is no numeric coefficient in front of the y. We consider this coefficient equal to 1. We multiply -3 by +2. The result will be -6. We multiply -3 by -1. The result will be +3. I subtract 6 from 7. And I transfer +1 to the right part. +6y to the left part of the equation. At the same time, I change the signs to the opposite. In the right part, I put a minus sign. In front of 6y in the left part, I also put a minus sign. I add 3 to -6. It will be -3. I move -3 to the denominator of the right part. And these rules for multiplying two numbers are also true for dividing two numbers. I divide a positive number by a negative number. I get a negative number. Let's do a check and substitute -4 instead of y in the equation. And find out if we get the correct equality. -4 multiplied by -1. We get a positive number. +6 multiplied by -4. We get a negative number. +6 multiplied by -3. This is -18. Subtract 24 from 13. We get -11. And so we get the correct equality. The equation is solved correctly. That's all for today. Subscribe to my channel. Bye everyone.